What's up YouTube? I'm Vaughn and this is the Gear channel where we discuss collectibles, hobbies, competitive games from tabletop to video games. And today we have a very special episode because we have our first guest appearance on today's episode. That's right. So we have a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player that had topped multiple high tier events and is also known for making one of Yu-Gi-Oh's iconic archetype competitive. And it's none other than the YugiTuber himself, Yacine656. Now with that being said, let's get started on the interview. And how are you doing, Yacine?
Yo, everything's good. How about you, Yvonne?
I'm doing great. Yo, thank you so much for coming to the channel. Now, first off, why Cyber Dragons? Why is that the main art style that you created and did so much success with, and also your channel's mascot as well?
It's funny because you actually know the answer since you and I knew each other for years and years. So if I'm responding to this, it's especially for the people who are watching. But basically, I've loved Cyber Dragons forever. I think I started playing the deck since like 2005, 2006, whatever. I actually forgot when the set was released, Cybernetic Revolution. And I never gave up on the cards, so when I saw that they were getting a new structure deck in 2014, that kind of motivated me to play Yu-Gi-Oh again because I kind of took a huge break from the game. So I bought 3 structure decks on the day of release, and since then I've basically just dedicated myself to playing only Cyber Dragon since it was my favorite deck like in my childhood. So yeah, I just wanted to really do well with a deck that I liked, even though people said that it wasn't too great, because I kind of saw the potential of contact fusing. I thought the mechanic just overall was incredibly good. Like, even when we didn't have Mega Fleet, when we only had Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, I still thought it was great because every single time you would see in the meta a deck that would require you to play like machine cards, like Cosmos and ABC, everybody would struggle against those decks because they were really good, but me playing Cyber Dragons, it was borderline free for me because of their monsters could be like 10,000 attack, untargetable whatever monsters, didn't matter because I would just be contact fusing with all of them. And then after that we started getting like Cyber Dragon Infinity, Chimera Tech Mega Fleet, so my deck went from just fun, casual for locals to I might be able to do well at regionals with it. So I really started having kind of like a competitive mindset with the deck. I was like, you know what? I want to do something that could actually make me top a YCS one day. So I really started kind of developing a new kind of mentality where I was like, you know what? I want to minimize bricks. I want to maximize my good hands. I want to make sure that my deck can beat everyone. Even though obviously there are some matchups that are just infinitely worse than others, like I don't know, Altergeist, True Draco, Subterror. Those trap decks, I don't really have an edge because I can't really contact fuse against them, and it's kind of hard to always rely on stuff like Cyber Dragon Infinity. I need good hands. If I get hand shapped, I can't really go for those plays. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I could beat everyone consistently, and this is where I eventually decided that Cyber Dragon was a brick in Cyber Dragons, and I would cut from 3 to 1, with obviously 0 machine dupe in the process. And from there, I was just like, you know what, trap cards are great going second, and when people force me to go first, trap cards are great. So why am I not playing more trap cards? Just wanted to, up the amount of trap cards as well, and I just started seeing insanely good results. I got top 4 at a regional. I didn't play Cyber Dragons in like that many regionals, ironically, because I play a lot of like other random crazy weird decks at regionals usually, but yeah, I got top 4 at a regional and I got top 8 at a YCS with Cyber Dragon Trap, so yeah, it went very well.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Now, all the players I know, you are literally the one that probably progressed the fastest. You went from literally like not topping locals to topping a YCS at such a short period of time. What motivated you to get better, and what advice do you have for like players that's been in the game for like 10 to 20 years and never even topped a regionals?
It's actually funny that you say that because honestly, the majority of people who are kind of new to the game or even old to the game, they kind of see Pac as a reference to to that as probably the player who managed to do well in like the shortest period of time. But I guess you could also say that I managed to get like some relatively decent results fast. Definitely took way longer for my YCS tops than my regional tops because my first regional top was at the very beginning of 2017, where I only started getting YCS tops in 2018. But the best pieces of advice I can give, just kind of try to stick to one deck, but still try to play every other deck out there, not necessarily so you have more backup plans, but so you know how to counter them when you play your own deck. Because for me, Cyber Dragon, I I trusted the deck when nobody else trusted it, and when it got support, I had a huge edge over everyone else because everybody was trying to learn a deck from scratch, whereas me, I already had hundreds or thousands actually of hours of experience with the deck. So for me, I was just playing the deck was second nature.
Okay. Nice. Now, one thing about like this channel, like specifically, is that we do a lot of different like hobbies, get other people interest in different like hobbies, different like collectibles as well. But one of the biggest issues in starting one of the games that we have is definitely Yu-Gi-Oh! And that is because not that the fact that the rulings are complicated, is that it's not really well explained. Like if we actually look at the first official rulebook, it had like 96 pages, and today's recent rulebook has 36. Now we could literally agree that there has been a big increase and add on to the rules like synchro, XYZ, pendulum, linking as well. But the rule books are very vague, and now for anyone that wants to really start playing Yu-Gi-Oh, they have to rely more on a third party like different websites, different like YugiTubers like yourself as well. What advice would you give someone that they have no TCG experience and they want to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
So, first of all, if you try to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! With the decks that people are playing right now, you're going to get completely overwhelmed. So, definitely try to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! With a deck that is very old school-ish in the way that it works, like True Draco, because it doesn't really perform a lot of actions, in a turn. It's just tribute summon, set a bunch of cards. You're very limited in the amount of moves that you are allowed to perform. So I think this is actually pretty good for beginners. And just all those decks that won't really make you explore too many summoning mechanics in one shot. Like if your very first Yu-Gi-Oh deck is something ridiculous like DDD, you're going to suffer because it's literally every kind of summon out there, like Synchro, Xyz Fusion, Pendulum, Link. So you can't really start by trying to look at everything at once. And also try to ignore Pendulum, because it's not really a generic summoning mechanic. It's not really like Link summoning and Synchro and Xyz. Even Synchro is a bit more specific. There are some decks that simply cannot Synchro summon, unless you randomly splash in some tuner monsters. But try to start with something that doesn't really feel too complicated. There are a lot of YugiTubers that would help you out with that anyways, and if you want like specific decks, like I said, True Draco, Flunderies when it's going to come out, that's going to probably be a pretty good deck for beginners. Monarchs was pretty good as well, and also don't try to go immediately for the super expensive deck, because I refuse to believe that the more you spend on the game, the likelier the better your chances at topping or winning an event will be. It's not just pay to win, it's especially pay to play. So obviously if you don't pay, you don't have a chance to win. But by spending $1,000 versus spending $200 on something that you know how to play, or you can learn faster, or just adapt faster, I think you're going to have infinitely better results.
Actually, it was a good thing that you pointed out the price because I do find that in today's format, it's not like how it used to be like back then. Now, this might be like just me that think about this, but I remember back then I could build a deck that was literally like $30 and still be a deck that's like worth like $1,000 or even more.
Yeah.
I do find it's very hard to do that, especially in today's format.
There's a
And
reason
like,
for that. I can explain. It's because back then, there weren't a lot of staples that everybody was playing, so staples weren't super expensive. Rather, the good cards in the good decks were expensive. Like you would see Dante at like $100, Deneb at like 40 something, even though it was just an ultra. But they weren't like super expensive staples like Phoenix Chain and all those cards. They kept getting reprints after reprints after reprints. Whereas now, you have to spend an insane amount of money on those staples specifically, like Imperm, Ash, whatever, Evenly, Lightning Storm. Staples are pretty much more expensive than your deck at this point.
yeah, because I remember last year, pretty much you could play any deck you want as long as you had a playset of Triple Tactics, Lightning Storm, and Droplets.
Yeah.
And that was how it was pretty much. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually true. But now I do agree. It is a bit less because now we're seeing not too much of those cards, and we've been seeing a lot of decks like Succeed and Topping that doesn't have the very expensive staples, or they have substitutes for them that actually been working very well. Like evenly matched. We've seen a lot of people instead of like focusing on getting Lightning Storm, we saw a lot of people using evenly matched, and it's been very successful as well.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Now, when it comes with definitely playtesting and even players, and one of the best ways is a lot of like online simulations like Duelenberg, YugiTuber Pro. Now, Konami is actually creating a new one that you must be fully aware of, Master Duel. Yeah, so what is your input on that? Do you believe it's going to bring more Yu-Gi-Oh players to the community, or it might even hurt the TCG community and make even less players playing it?
Well, that's a pretty good question, actually, because it's something that will come out in the future, so we technically don't really have a guaranteed answer to that, but I don't see how it can have a negative impact on the community. I think it'll just bring even more people. It's going to generate publicity, obviously, that's one thing, so people who don't necessarily know the game or have been playing in the past, maybe they were going to see Master Duel and they were going to be like, oh, this is so similar to Hearthstone, but this time it's with a game I used to play when I was a kid, so why not try it out? There's a bug in my room. But it's so random. But yeah, I mean, Master Duel, I think it's going to be the official and more legit version of Duel Links. And Duel Links, we know that some random people actually came back to the game with Duel Links. So can it happen with Master Duel? Absolutely. Do I think Master Duel will actually have a negative impact on the community? I mean, it could actually kind of screw the competitive players if Konami decides to take action against Dueling Book and EDO Pro, but I don't think they will. Those players, though, they might migrate to Master Duel. For example, as a YugiTuber and as a potential streamer, I haven't started streaming yet, but I might in the future. I might actually soon. I might start making videos and live streams on Master Duel because it's going to be the hot topic of the year. So it's going to probably have a bit more exposure, and if I could actually help Master Duel kind of reach more people, then we might start seeing Yu-Gi-Oh become more I don't know, more popular just overall in the world.
Yeah, for being popularized, you know what? I agree 100%. Definitely promotes it. The only way I would see that it might affect this TCG community is by pricing. So if they actually come up with better prizes for Master Duels than they've been doing for like regionals, as an example, that might have a big impact on it. Because especially that if we look at our recent prizes for like regionals, it's been a playmat and then
Deck box.
a deck box. Yeah, pretty much. And compared to like back then, there was a big difference. You would get booster boxes, you would get consoles, a lot more. So one thing that could definitely hurt is that if they start doing events with larger prizes that will repel more players to play the online version than the actual TCG, that could potentially hurt it as well. But the reason why I'm not too worried about that is because now there might be been rumors going on about paying for specific cards as well. So if they're
Microtransactions,
doing, yeah, so that could potentially hurt it because right now the majority of the players that's going to do the online, if you think about it, is like players are going to definitely download the app because it's much more convenient for them to definitely take it for traveling or even just to work. You could literally just play it on your phone. It's just very easy access to it. Now if they're doing like purchases for it and for specific cards, that can compel players to either choose either if they want to spend the money on virtually or actually in like TCG, or you're going to get some players that not going to spend any money and just play the online, and then you get the third options of the players that are just going to do both. So that is where I can see that maybe it might not translate these online players to start playing like TCG players. But at the same time, because like back then, if we look at the old games, like Konami was very smart with the game, and I'm talking about like PlayStation 1 or like Game Boy. So they were very smart. They included like cards in the games, and this enticed people to actually either start collecting Yu-Gi-Oh now or to actually play in like real life. Well, with the app, I know that they're going to come with a PlayStation 4 or 5 like version as it and Nintendo Switch.
yeah.
But with like the app version, we're going to get a lot of either players migrating to only online or just be the same amount. I don't believe it's going to increase TCG players, this app.
Yeah, as you
So
said,
that's my thought about it.
yeah, it could just be like a migration of players from one platform going to another. We really have to wait and see, honestly.
Well, sadly, Yacine, that is time in the round.
Already?
But I want to thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, man. We have to keep it short, but I thank you so much for coming to the channel. And honestly, I am looking forward for you to coming and visiting again. So thank you so much. And I definitely encourage all of you to subscribe to his channel, especially if you want to progress in your competitive style in Yu-Gi-Oh! He makes amazing content. And especially for learning combos and rulings, definitely check out his channel as well. Is there anything you would like to say as well?
Yes, absolutely. Subscribe to VaughnGear. He's the best out there. He was actually my guru when I started playing the game. So if you want to be a pro, subscribe to the pro.
Oh, respect, man.
Alright.
Take care, man.
Thank you so much, man. Take care, you too, huh?
And that's it for our interview. Now, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. And if you want to check out Yacine656 channel, I'll put a link in the description so you can definitely subscribe to that channel. And don't forget, we are still doing the giveaway for the playset of Forbidden Droplet. So make sure to subscribe if you want a chance to win that playset. And if you want a sneak peek of future products we're planning to review on the channel, you can follow me on my Instagram, VaughnGear. I'm Vaughn, and this was the Gear Channel.